Are you sick and tired of gambling your hard-earned money on Madden packs? Look no further than my sponsor, MMOEXP, for the cheapest and most reliable MUT coins on the market. And don't forget to use code Ferdy at checkout for 5% off. What's going on, guys? Today we have the best cards at each position at every price point. And this video will be a little bit different than my best at each position series because we're going to talk about different cards at different budgets at every single position. We're going to have 3 different price points. We're going to have free/cheap. We're going to have mid-level price point. Then we're going to have the super expensive guys. For example, as you saw in the thumbnail, we had Warren Moon on there. That would be an example of a very elite, very high price tag kind of guy. Real quick though, before we get started, we have our shout out of the day, and that's gonna go to my man Ty for commenting the emoji on last video. If you want a chance to be shouted out in the next video, let's comment the monkey emoji. Comment the monkey emoji, one of the many monkey emojis, for a chance to be shouted out in the next one. Okay, so let's get started at quarterback. For the free price range to free to cheap, it has to be Bryce Young. I think it is definitely him. If you have CJ Stroud on your account, he's obviously technically free in this game. You can't get him if you didn't play Madden 23 and complete his set last year. But for the wide range of people, just getting to season level 8 and getting this Bryce Young card is a good start. And he's one of the better QBs in the game. And him being free is honestly very nice. And as you level up, you can even upgrade him up to an 86 overall. I'm not there yet, but eventually you'll be able to give him that +2 speed and just give him some slightly better stats. For our mid-level quarterback, I'm going to go with Jordan Love. To me, mid-level is anywhere from about 50K to 150K. 200K, you know, maybe I'll go there eventually, but I think 50K to 150 is that mid-level price point. So Jordan Love, if you really just cannot use Bryce Young, Jordan Love for about 60K is not a bad buy. 81 speed, 85 acceleration, so the man can definitely still roll out with 85 throw power and 85 short accuracy. So short, he's going to be super consistent, but that 78 mid accuracy, you can definitely feel it on this card. But he plays pretty similar to Bryce Young in the way that he's able to roll out and kind of fight for yards when the play kind of breaks down, which I like about this card. Also, I still like Slinger 1. Even though Slinger 1 was nerfed this year, in my opinion, it's still one of the better releases I've used this year. So Jordan Love, I'm a big fan of this card. Does get worse abilities than Bryce, but abilities right now in Madden 24, unless you get what the next guy gets, they're not as important. And for our high level QB, everyone saw this one coming. It's Warren Moon. I mean, look at the stats. They're ridiculous. 83 speed with those accuracy stats at 6'3". Yeah, he's just a monster, man. And then for the abilities, he also does get Dead Eyes or Gunslinger. It's up to you. Obviously, the catalog is broken. The man doesn't get Tank. But, yeah, still good abilities on Warren Moon. I mean, this card, I don't know if we've ever seen a card that can make you so much better than someone that doesn't have a card before. Maybe like Eric Dickerson, Madden 20 would be the first example I think of. Maybe one of the X Factor running backs last year, but just having Warren Moon, I know he's very expensive, but it makes sense. I mean, he's like the distance between Warren Moon and quarterback 2 is so far right now. And obviously tomorrow we could get, with Campus Heroes coming out, we could get maybe like a good, maybe, I don't know, a good quarterback tomorrow, who knows? But right now, Warren Moon by far QB1, so he has to be, the elite price point kind of guy. Okay, so now we have our cornerbacks, and for our free to cheap range, I'm going to go with AJ Terrell and Jalen Watson. Both these cards can be obtained for free by hitting the level 22 comp pass. On this card, 86 speed. This card's probably a little bit better, but much more of a grind than the Jalen Watson. If you've been playing head-to-head or playing MUT champs or if maybe solo battles, you might be pretty close to this card if you've been playing the game. But yeah, level 22 in the comp pass, you're able to get the AJ Terrell. Even if you're not one of the first 1,000, it doesn't matter. He's still good and a free option. And then for Jalen Watson, all you have to do is play the Headliners, what is it called? Headliner Gridiron Challenge Reward. Headliners Gridiron Challenge solos. And once you finish all those, you will get this card right here. Not the best in zone, but he's still a 6'2", 85-man cornerback with good physicals. I mean, this card for free is pretty ridiculous. So, yeah, for the free/cheap, it's definitely Jalen Watson and AJ Terrell. And maybe Derek Stingley's thrown in there too as a pretty cheap option for 15K. But those would be the free to cheap guys. So now we have our mid-level cornerbacks. Again, that's 50K to about 100K. I have a couple names I want to get through, so let's get through them right now. Okay, this whole row right here, besides Tariq Woolen, are all really solid. We have 84 speed, both can play man coverage. 84 speed, good in zone coverage. We then have Deion Sanders, who has 85 speed and is good in man coverage. Then we have Richard Sherman, who's 84 speed with good zone coverage. And you see right here, those are the prices right there above me. Dion and Sherman are a little bit cheaper. I would probably lean towards those two cards. Also, of course, JC Horn, 85 speed, good in zone. And you have Martin Emerson at 6'2" with 84 speed, and he's a better in man, but also can play a little bit of zone as well. And if we head up here, there's two guys up here I like, and that's of course Caleb Evans, 6'2" with 85 speed, good acceleration. He's more of a zone guy. And then we have Sauce Gardner going for about 100K right now, about 100K at 6'3" with good man-to-man stats. And then for the high-level cards, of course, I'm going to go with the Core Elite Jalen Ramsey. For obvious reasons, this card is an absolute monster. This card's an absolute beast. 85 speed, man, zone, play rec, press. It's all there for Jalen Ramsey. And then the last two, I guess they're also same as the mid-level guys. It's going to be Sherman and Dion, but the upgraded versions of both these cards. I'm going to go Sherman, Dion. I like Dion. Dion plays crazy right now. Obviously, if you're playing more man-to-man and you only can pick one, you're going to go Dion. If you're playing more zone, you got to go Sherman. But yeah, I mean, they're both pretty ridiculous. I mean, the fact that Deion Sanders has 88 speed with 90-man coverage is just insane. Good play rec, all that good stuff. You just throw Stonewall on him and let him, not get trampled in the run game, and, the card plays amazing. Okay, we now have our free safeties getting started here with the budget free safety, or the cheap to free one. And we have Jeremy Chin going for a pretty fair price tag at 6'3" with 83 speed. Probably a better user, but he can play over the top if you really need him to. So Jeremy Chin, great for his price point. Next up, we have the mid-level. And the mid-level, it's a pretty good range. Like I said, 50K to about 150K. So I would definitely put the 84 Ed Reed on here for sure. He's got to be mentioned here with 84 speed, 85 acceleration, and good zone coverage. Definitely better than Jeremy Chin, especially when it comes to playing over the top with good zone, as well as having the good acceleration and speed right there. The play rec, 82 is also not bad either. And also 83 hit power is good on an Ed Reed card. But as far as like the top end of mid-tier, Joey Blunt actually does fall right into it there. So yeah, Joey Blunt's got to be in here. You probably see a lot of Joey Blunt on the Seattle theme team. You could probably build this card for cheaper than 150, honestly. He's probably only this price because people get lazy when they're trying to build their Seattle theme teams and his price goes up. So yeah, Joey Blunt, you probably build him for a little bit cheaper if you go through the set. But yeah, crazy man coverage, a crazy user. This card plays insane. He really does. So Joey Blunt kind of on the top, all the way to the top, the top level of mid-tier. And then finally for top tier, they're super expensive, the most expensive, it's Ed Reed. And so for 300K, it's not a bad buy. On Legends weekends, I've seen him get down a little bit more than this, but Ed Reed, 87 speed, 88 acceleration, 90 zone coverage, probably easily the best over the top safety in the game right now. I mean, this guy can do it all. He flies around, reacts to zones like crazy. Even he does get pick artists too. So yeah, Ed Reed he's definitely the top level for the free safeties. And next up, we have our strong safeties for free to cheap. I have 3 names for you guys. Eric Berry for free. Just go through your team captain, field pass, and eventually he will be fully upgraded. We also have these two kind of cheap guys here. Isaiah Simmons for about 20K and the 81 Cam Chancellor for about 16 to 15K. For our mid-level guys, we have Kyle Hamilton, Cam Chancellor. Both these guys are good users. I also think Cam Chancellor is probably a better option for the mid-level. And also, there's Grant Delpit here as well. Again, the same spiel I gave you with Joey Blunt. You could probably build this card for a little bit cheaper than what he's actually going for on the market. And for the high-level guys, it's Cameron Curl, but it's really Cam Chancellor as well. Cam Chancellor is probably the best over-the-top strong safety in the game, unless he's getting into man-to-man scenarios, which he shouldn't be at only 70-man coverage. But crazy zone, crazy hit power, crazy speed, crazy size. And you kind of have to pick where you want to use this card, because he's like super elite as a user with his speed and being able to kind of get from point A to point B and bait people. But also over the top, he's one of the best in those deep zones. So you kind of have to pick. But also Cameron Curl could be a good user as well. He still has got good size, like good enough size to be a user. 85 speed with good zone coverage. Obviously, Cam's better over the top. Cam's also the better user. But if you had to pick one, to me, if I had both players, I'd play Cam over the top and I'd play Cameron Curl as my user, because I trust my reactions, I guess. So, even though he has 2 less speed, I'm still covering that ground, I guess. That's probably what I would do instead of, it kind of putting it in EA's hands and making him react to the deep zone. I'd rather have a guy with better stats, so it kind of gets rid of the randomness. But that's probably what I would do. But those are our high-level safeties, strong safeties at least. With that, like 100%, Cam Chancellor, Cameron Curl. Okay, back on offense, we have our running backs for the budget free / cheap. Again, that's, free to about 50K. It's only DeAndre Swift, in my opinion. I think he is, there really isn't any other free running back or cheap running back in the game, unless you get down here to like Chase Brown, Kendre Miller territory. there really isn't another guy. I think I would definitely still rather use DeAndre Swift, who actually does get abilities as well. And again, it's completely free. All you have to do is get to level 4 in your field pass. You probably, if you've been playing the game, you would definitely already have this card like 100%. And Swift, I mean, I still use him a little bit, and he still gets a little bit of play. He still kind of goes crazy. So that's our cheap option at running back. For mid-level, I like a good amount of guys. I like Fred Taylor. I like Khalil Herbert. I like Nyheim Hines, even though he's more on the the upper end of that. I like Nyheim Hines, and I also do like Dearness Johnson. Those would be my 3 options. Also, you have Jonathan Taylor there as well. So probably Jonathan Taylor, Khalil Herbert, the legend collectible Fred Taylor, and then Nyheim Hines and Dearness Johnson for the mid-level guys. And for the top tier guys, depending on how you like to play the game, depending on preference, if you want a more elusive guy, Fred Taylor does get jukebox. But if you want that north and south guy, Jerome Bettis is an absolute demon, bro. His build is crazy. Go watch my gameplays on both of these cards. Actually, I didn't do a Fred Taylor gameplay, did I? I don't think I did. But go watch my Jerome Bettis gameplay. This card plays just crazy, man. He does play just crazy. So those are definitely the 2 top tier running backs without question. I think Ramondre is definitely the 3. So, and like, I guess he's kind of a mix of both, but I feel like Fred's probably the best mix. Fred has a little bit of power too, but full power is definitely just going to be Jerome. He's a full north-south guy. The man can't even journal. Okay, we now have a left end, and getting started with free to cheap. I have Javon Curse, 15K. He's actually on my no money spent team, but if you haven't played the game for a while, of course, the best free option is the left end Reggie White. And yeah, the card can also be upgraded as well, up to an 87 overall, which is really nice. So completely free. Reggie White is, of course, there for the taking. And then for the mid-level guys, I have a couple names here. I like both these 84s, and I guess technically if you do the 84 headliners, if you go through that 84 headliners, eventually you'll get to pick a free BND headliner. So this guy, I guess, could technically be free for you. But I like Greg Rousseau. I like both these cards. I also like Javon Curse's 84 as well. I would say actually all 4 of these cards are pretty solid for the mid-level price point. Dante Fowler, Quiddy Pay, probably not worth it. And then for the super expensive, Javon Curse, his full legend is obviously a monster. We head over here, 84 speed, crazy finesse moves, good block shed, 85 tackling at 6'4", 265 pounds. Okay, for right end, you see where we're at right now. There really isn't like a super good budget right end in the game right now. I mean, 6'5", 82 speed Amari Barno is solid. Like, he was actually in the budget video as well. He's going for about 1,000 coins, so basically free, but he's obviously only there for the speed. But there really isn't that many good cheap options at right end. There really isn't, unless you want just Leonard Williams' build. I mean, this card isn't anything crazy, obviously. But I guess if you want some decent stats with his build at 300, he's a huge build in this year's game. It's insane how big the card actually is. But for that cheap range, there really isn't an option here for you. There really isn't. Maybe Grady Jarrett, maybe. But like, again, like, it's nothing like for his price. I don't know. He's more of like a defensive tackle to me, especially with that speed. So for the mid-level, again, I'm probably gonna go Montez Sweat. There really isn't like a super good cheap option for the mid-level. So I would go Montez Sweat, actually one of the better cards in this game in general, off the edge with 85 speed, which is insane for his card. So Montez Sweat for 127 is kind of on the upper end of mid-level. And then for the super top tier, the super expensive, I'm gonna go Micah Parsons. To me, Leonard Big Cat, I have him on my team. He's more of a defensive tackle. I would definitely play him in the middle, especially because of his build, like I just said. But if you want more of a traditional edge rushing kind of guy, it's Micah Parsons. Especially with all the blitzes in Madden, just how Madden plays. You want the fastest guy, especially on those blitzes where those guys come running free. Like an 8 speed to 7 speed difference is a pretty big deal. So Micah Parsons on the upper end, Montez in the middle, and on the low end, I guess it's Amari Barno. I guess right end's very thin right now. Okay, we now have a defensive tackle, and for defensive tackle, I have 2 budget names here. There you go, Jordan Davis and Vita Vea, both about 20K, which they're good prices right there for both those cards. Both play very, very well. Up to the mid-level. The mid-level is tough for defensive tackle, but I do like Jonathan Allen. Jonathan Allen is probably my favorite mid-level defensive tackle. The speed isn't anything crazy, but he has a good build with 85 power moves, which is honestly kind of rare for especially a core elite event like defensive tackle. These just make them run stoppers. So the fact he's able to rush the quarterback is really nice, especially if you're only going to be rushing for and you need those sheds in the middle. Having Jonathan Allen is really, really nice. And then for obviously the upper end, there are options, but it's Warren Sapp, unfortunately. You know, he's about 700K right now, but he is the best defensive tackle in the game because he has 90 block shed, 87 power moves with 81 speed at 300 pounds. So has the build, has the speed, has the size, can rush the passer. There you go. I mean, that's what this card's able to do. Also does get like defensive rally, which is insane because it boosts all your defensive linemen on 3rd and 4th down. So yeah, he's by far the best defensive tackle in the game. Would I ever spend 700K for a defensive tackle? No, but he's really good. Okay, we now have tight end, and I really like the tight end position this year so far. For free, it's Isaiah Likely. I mean, this dude, you can get him for completely free. If you picked him for your front page headliner card, you may have picked somebody else, and if you already did that, you can't go back in time. You can't pick a new one. You're stuck with that option. But Isaiah Likely, one of the better free cards that we've seen so far this year. For budget, say you picked AVT, for example. You have Irv Smith and OJ Howard, two really, really good budget options. They're both like about 10K, like they're crazy. I mean, Irv is a little bit smaller than the OJ Howard, who look like in that picture looks like an absolute monster, and also in game he is too. But for budget, it's both those guys. For mid-level, Kyle Pitts, Darren Waller. I don't get Hawkinson, but Kyle Pitts, Darren Waller, both really nice. Even Chigozie Okonkwo. I mean, this card plays crazy. He's my tight end right now. Honestly, he's probably my favorite. Chigozie is probably my favorite right now. For the mid-level, this is my tight end. And then for the upper end, I think it is just Mike Gesicki, unfortunately. Again, if I say unfortunately because he is 700K, but again, we're kind of unlocking that price cap when it comes to the upper end guys. So, 84 speed, 86 short route running at 6'6", 250. Does get good abilities as well. So yeah, Mike Gesicki definitely. And by the way, if you did pull his LTD, hopefully you held on to it because I think it like went up crazy. I mean, that's about 700K for a tight end is wild. So yeah, but honestly, if you need to spend a lot on a tight end, I wouldn't buy any of these guys. You're probably just fine with Chigozie Okonkwo, or even Kyle Pitts or Darren Waller, in my opinion. It's just like not worth it to spend 700K on a tight end. I can't think of a scenario where it's worth it, but he is the best at that price point. Okay, so all we have left is our linebackers, and we're going to end with the receivers. So left outside linebacker, Nolan Smith. This is a very thin position with not much depth at all. So, you're just chasing the physicals there. So there you go. Nolan Smith, 4,000 coins. He's solid off that edge, especially if you have free runners. For the mid-level guys, again, like for low level, there isn't any good like elites in my opinion. But for the mid-level guys, I would say it's Odafe Oweh, Daniel Hunter. Just pick one. I guess Odafe's probably Odafe Oweh is probably a little bit better just because his price will be a little bit cheaper, and you might see a little bit more of him, or maybe you can pick him out of a free B&D pack. Who knows? But Odafe is nice for the mid-level. And then for the top tier, I'm gonna go Max Crosby. I like his mix of speed as well as power move and finesse move, and also can stop the run very well too at 6'5". So it's definitely Max Crosby, but again, left outside linebacker is a very thin position. We now have our middle linebackers. It's not really a position you see a lot of in Madden. Most people just use sub linebackers, or obviously use their safeties in the box now, because linebackers, they don't really animate or play that well. So for the cheap guys, honestly, if you have to use one, it's like Brian Asamoah, probably Brian Asamoah, but like there really isn't that many good options for the budget / free guys. Mid-level, there are some options. I would say I like Roquan Smith, has really good acceleration. Fully sighted Lubicon's got decent speed. Even this Junior Seau is okay. I would probably stay away from the Bobby Wagner cards, and I'll explain why. Unless you want to use Bobby Wagner as like a off the ball, like you're not going to user him linebacker. Maybe he's playing like outside linebacker for you. Maybe that's a scenario, but he just has low COD. He's got good stats and like even decent zone. Like 81 speed, still like crazy to have on your field, especially on defense. Especially when he's not an edge rusher. Like 81 speed on an edge rusher, that's fine. But if he's not edge rushing, you know what I mean? Also, that crazy low COD just scares me. So that's why Bobby Wagner, I'm not even going to mention this card, because yeah, he's a high overall with a cool card art, but he's not that great. So yeah, Junior Seau, even Aziz Al-Shire, how do you say his name? I don't even know. But he's got good speed, good acceleration, good hit power. Probably would user his card again because he has the low zone coverage. And then for the top tier guys, I think it is just Junior Seau by himself, honestly. The card moves well, crazy size at 6'3", 255, good block shed, good hit power. So if you are going to use her a middle linebacker, probably have to spend. I would say you're probably going to spend the coin to use Junior Seau, because to me right now, he's the lone super elite viable middle linebacker user option. And if you thought left outside linebacker was thin, right outside linebacker is even thinner, for the budget, I'm gonna go Jamin Davis. There really is no other guy that's 10K. I mean, you might as well just use the guy with the better physicals at that point. For mid-level, it's just Trayvon Walker. I mean, Trayvon Walker is actually really good. His build is crazy. Trayvon Walker for 60K is a good buy. And then for upper end, I mean, it's probably just Khalil Mack. That's probably who I would use. I don't know. Like, I'm not buying JOK's a pass coverage outside linebacker in early game Madden, and I already gave you the whole spiel about how linebackers don't animate, and JOK is no different, So I probably would have to say Khalil Mack. I mean, this position is super, super thin, and honestly, the best card on here is probably Trayvon Walker, if we're being honest with ourselves. Okay, we now have our wide receivers to cap off today's video, and for free, we have George Pickens. You can't get the card yet, but if you play the comp pass, he's the same as AJ Terrell. You can definitely get the card for free. For some more budget guys, we have Wan'Dale Robinson, the same as Isaiah Likely. If you didn't pick him for your front page headliner, you cannot go back and fix it, but he is a free good wide receiver option if you are just starting to play the game. Some more good free guys. I like one guy down here. I like even Zach Pascal's solid. No, not Zach Pascal. It's Quez Watkins, what I'm looking for. There we go. Quez Watkins is solid. We also do have the 75 overall Jameson Williams. And then there is a 74 overall Taquan Thornton there as well, who I like as well. For the budget / free guys, there are definitely some options. For the mid-level guys, it's going to be Kadarius Toney, Christian Watson, Devin Hester. I like all three of these cards, and I'm not even going to talk about Jamar Chase. Although his card is good, you could buy Kadarius Toney and Christian Watson for the same price, around the same price you're buying Jamar Chase for. So to me, just go with these two cards. Also, back to the budget, I do also like Jalen Waddle's card as well. Had to mention that. And then also for mid-level, DK Metcalf's good size with some pretty good speed. But I like these two cards the best for the mid-level prices. Also, Devin Hester is pretty decent as well for that price point. And then I guess John Michie as well towards the upper end, I guess higher on the price point than Christian Watson. Kadarius Toney plays well too. Another free card is going to be DeAndre Hopkins. He's actually, if you can get him pretty soon, level 34. I know people that are at level 34 already. But for free, I mean, he's good. Look at the mid-route running, 6'1". The speed, I wish was a little bit better right now, but it is what it is because they kind of made this card, I guess, when the game first came out. So it is what it is. But for the upper level guys, I'll give you three options. I like Jerry Rice. I would say Jerry Rice, Chad, and Drake London. If I were to build my receiving core, that would be them right now. Devin Hester does get cut from that receiving core just because I like Drake London's size, and I'm already getting two good route running threats. Because Jerry Rice will play the slot, Chad will run some nice crispy routes for you, and then Drake London there. That would probably be my wide receiving core right now. So I would have to mention those three guys, and obviously Jerry Rice is a must-have player right now in this game. For 380K, being our only slot apprentice is insane. If slot apprentice is the ability to beat man coverage on any given play, being able to throw a post or a corner or a crosser. It makes you so much better. Even you still have your zigs as well. So Jerry Rice should never really get stopped in man-to-man coverage, unless your opponent gets a lucky shade or uses him or something like that. Especially with slot apprentice and the route running stats as well. So yeah, that's gonna do it for today's video. If I didn't miss any names, if anyone was snubbed, let me know down in the comment section. And of course, as always, I will see you boys in the next one.